guys, welcome to another episode of Minutes with M&M. I'm Missan, this is Mena, and we're glad to have you back.
This week we're going to be talking about a show that just got canceled, Gossip Girl, the reboot. So Missan is not a fan, and we're going to get into that shortly. So there were 2 seasons of the show, which was a reboot of the original CW Gossip Girl show that was based on the books. The original Gossip Girl was like a huge hit. It was a cult classic. Everybody was super into it. We were rooting for very unhealthy couples. Cough, cough.
Chuck and Blair.
So obviously when this was announced a couple years ago, everyone was like, oh, of course it's going to be successful. It's horrible young people with lots of money. What could go wrong? This episode, we're going to talk about everything that went wrong. But before we get into that, the title of this video obviously alludes to what happened to get the show canceled. And the main thing, according to the show creator, Joshua Safran, is the budget. I know that sounds a little bit sus, but he does have a point. Shows that are shot in New York in general are the most expensive shows to shoot, which is why a lot of places that are based in New York shoot in other states of the US or in Vancouver because it costs a lot of money. So he was actually offered a season 3 deal by HBO for a certain amount. He was not interested in taking their lower budget. And he doesn't believe other networks will pick it up. So in 6 months, if Netflix decides to take the show magically, I'll guess they'll figure out a way to make the money work. But right now, the main reason, other than some other things, is that it just costs way too much and not enough people were loving it. But we're gonna talk about why people were not loving it. So let's talk about season 2 of the Gossip Girl reboot. Miss Anne, what are your thoughts?
Season 1 was bad, right? But season 2 just took it to a whole nother level because it had such potential and everything was bad. Let's start with the acting. The acting was horrible. Like, whoever plays Julien, I'm sorry, it just wasn't given. Like, it actually is not easy to play like a very horrible character that's like conflicted, because every time she tried to justify her action, she just sounded so silly. It's like, no, but I was doing this for you guys. And I'm like, this is so bad. Like, I would have actually preferred the actress who did Monet to have played Julie, and I feel like she was stronger, but it is what it is. Everyone was just horrible. Special shout out to Obie's girlfriend, Grace. I don't know whose dad bribed the producers to let their daughter be on the show, because it's like, she talks like this, like, yeah, guys, I would love to go out with you. I feel like, you know, we have the connection. I'm actually doing a way better job. Like, I feel like we need to put a little clip of like. Anyways, the acting was bad. Let's start from there. The acting was bad.
I can't believe you said the acting was bad and you didn't call out our king of bad actors, Aki. Aki is low-key. He's acting like they picked a stranger off the street. They drugged him and they said, you need to be on the show. And he's just like, yes, Audrey, I love you so much.
No, you know what? The reason why it doesn't bother me as much is because he has like one sentence every episode. So for me, once he says the sentence, I'm like focused on everything else. But Grace actually had that whole storyline of dating Obie and like 2-timing him and then incest. And it wasn't even convincing. I was like, you look like you go to church every day and like you're not giving that vibe of a character that can pull this off.
So the thing is, for Julien, you just said, so I've always assumed she was a weaker actress since season 1, but what you just said about her story being bad because of her acting, I actually didn't consider that. Like, I don't know what I thought. I thought the writing was kind of all over the place, but I was very much like, you keep saying you're a good person and then doing bad things.
She's so horrible.
So maybe you're right. Maybe it's the acting. Maybe if it was a good actress, I would buy conflicted, because what I got was delusional. Like, because no, what are you doing? Like, you're like, I love my friends so much, I'm going to destroy their relationships for their sake.
Mm-hmm. It's like, I don't believe there's someone like that in real life. It's like, I want to expose you, so it's like, guys, stop the story.
If I never have to hear stop the story again, I think that's another problem for me. Is this show supposed to be like realistic in the sense that this is like real life, or is this supposed to be fake? Because first of all, why are these 16-year-olds getting invited to the Met Gala?
Thank you very much.
Why are like big people knowing teenagers' names, talking about, oh hi Obie? Why does a 40-year-old like politician know your name?
Thank you. Why are all these random teachers getting invited to private upskill parties all across New York? Every single party they're there, and
nobody's like,
they just hand out invites, like.
No, but you know, that's a real, like, that age thing really bugs me. The way that these characters talk, and like I think we might actually have a dedicated video about this, but like how like adultification of teenager for adult consumption, but it makes no sense because Max and all of them, but particularly Max, the way they talk, you would think that this is a 30-year-old. It's like, oh, I haven't been sober for years, or oh, at Max's bar mitzvah we were all loaded. You turned 13 at your bar mitzvah. Like, the things and the way they talk and going to bars and getting served and talking about orgies and talking about how weird it is to not have sex. Like, these are
like rich people things.
These are children. These are like actually children, and nobody in the show's universe acts like they're children until they need to, including their parents. They're just like, yeah, my son's having sex with 5 people and I'm fine with it. You shouldn't be. This isn't about being open-minded or progressive.
Yeah.
You should be deeply concerned that your son goes to bathhouses to meet grown men. But it's like all of them, like they all act like grown-ups.
And they're all treated like grown-ups. Like, why would you let your son plan your wedding?
Like, what is up with that? Similarly, why is Audrey in charge of her mom's career? Because it's Audrey that's like, let's go to the show, let's do this. We have to make this call. Like, I don't understand that. It really bugs me because I know the original Gossip Girl, sometimes they acted above their age, but in this show, it's
so unrealistic.
It's so insane. Especially because they say things like, Zoya, you're just 15. You can't say things like that and have Zoya like yell at her dad for trying to put a roof over her head. Like, these two things don't work. She can't have this much authority in their relationship when she's actually a literal child. No, that really bugged me for both seasons of the show, is the consistent pretending that these two things make sense. Like, this season was Julien dating a 21-year-old. What was that for?
I have no idea.
Like, I mean specifically his age. Like, I'm not going to get into how he was pretending to be married, because what? It's the actual fact that he introduces himself and straight up says, I'm 21. He could have been 19 and nothing would have changed about that storyline. 19 is old enough to be a young married person. They had her sleep with an actual legal adult for no reason.
Yep.
Like, why did you do that?
And that entire story was just kind of wrapped up in a weird way, and then it was on to Obie, and I was like, what was the reason? Like, she justified sleeping with who she thought was a married man, and there was no lesson, there was no moral, it was just done. But like, they do that all the time. Remember when Monet was supposed to be the big bad, and for like 2 or 3 episodes she was horrible, and then everybody ignored her again? What was that? And also, let's talk about Obie, because he pisses me the fuck off.
He was my favorite this season.
No, I'm sorry. What are you talking about? Oh, I want to bring down my family, but like, only Gossip Girl can help me. Go to authorities. Go to the police. Like, why are you sending things to Gossip Girl?
Because they have connections with the authorities.
Okay.
So he thinks it won't work. Like, the whole thing with like last season where he tried to protest them, or where he tried to use, and then Aki's dad used his influence as a media mogul. So he thinks he has to go through outside. It doesn't make sense.
Okay, but it's not really his business, is it?
His mom is actually getting people in physical danger this time. He's trying to do the right thing.
I don't know. Like, maybe he should just stay in school and like read and study. Like, it just wasn't logical to me. At some point, you're just gonna have to trust someone in the police department. Like,
maybe, but to me, he's the only one of all the characters that I can actually say, when he says I'm a good person, I believe it, because he's actually trying. My guy said, like, I'm ready to send my mom to jail because I think she's committing crimes. And the rest of them are just so wishy-washy. Also, so there were some good things about this season. And something that I actually liked was Obie secretly working with Gossip Girl, and none of them knowing, because of, if you thought anyone was working with Gossip Girl, why would it be Obie? I think that if they stuck to more things like that, instead of like Julien sending in lies about her friends to Gossip Girl to teach them to be better people, like, there were moments of almost goodness in this show that I think
a lot of potential. It's so, like, Julien is so horrible. Do you remember what she said when she's like, She's not a model, she's just my stylist.
Okay, so I didn't think that was bad.
Why?
Because it was what she thought to be true. Like, Luna has never told her she wants to be a model before. It's like, she's my stylist.
Okay,
she styles for me.
talking to you though.
But she was talking to both of us.
They were talking to Luna about her like modeling for them, right? And she replies for her.
Yeah, because the guy was talking to both of them. He was like, oh, if you guys want a model. And then she was like, oh, she's not a model. Like, it was selfish, but
she's
like...
just my stylist.
I mean, she's just... I didn't know she was a model. Like,
just.
That's what she is.
Julien is such a jealous prick.
But the thing, my issue with that is what I mean by it doesn't make sense. Like, has Luna secretly always wanted to be a model and we just didn't know? Like, is this something that Julien has been aware of? And like, because they do this thing as well where they're like, oh my god, Julien, you're so selfish. And we see it kind of in this season.
It
but
doesn't matter though. Like, you don't speak for me. Let me be the one to say, hey, I'm not interested in modeling. Like,
that's
why
true.
are you saying I'm just your stylist? Opportunity has come on my doorstep. You are the only one that has been getting opportunities and brand deals all this while. And I've been working in the background, but you're the first to say no, she's not a model, she's just my stylist. I'm sorry, that was just so horrible. Like, you could have just walked away, Steph. You didn't even need to say anything at all. Fuck you, Julien. Fuck you.
I'm dead. It was definitely rude, don't get me wrong. I just find it surprising that was the breaking point for Luna. Like, if like, especially
it was a combination of things.
It's just, no, because even like later on during when everything is going on, Monet is trying to talk to Luna like, oh, we're trying to do the plan, and she's like, I don't care. It's like, okay, but you guys have been working to make Gossip Girl. Like, I don't know, they do these weird things that just apparently come out of nowhere and end out of nowhere, and that's why even though technically you're right, what Julien did was rude. I was like, Luna, is this really bothering you? Like,
yes, it is.
Because throughout the whole... So Monet's allegedly her best friend. Throughout the beginning of the season, when Monet was working against Julien, she picked Julien to be doing, I want to be your understudy. I want you to be queen. Let me help you succeed. Let's work against my best friend, Monet. So, you have relegated yourself to be my sidekick. And that's how I see you.
Oh, well, sucks to suck, but like, I just hate like the entire situation. You know what? My fave this season was Audrey, because she was the only one that was calling Julien out on her bullshit. I love her. It was sweet to me every time she said, Julien, you're doing this again. It's all about you. Leave me alone. I was like, yes. Like, please stop. Whatever it is you're doing, just stop.
I was loving it until the end when she goes, I miss my best friend.
And well, I understood.
I know, because that's
what else can she talk to though?
Make new friends. Lean on Monet and Luna.
In that moment when she's going through her relationship wahala.
When she was going through other wahala, she was okay fighting with Julien.
Yeah, because she had her boyfriend.
I can't. It annoyed me because I agree with you. I was on her side. You shouldn't forgive her. She hasn't done anything. She hasn't changed.
Yeah, that's true. Like, I think they just wanted to wrap it up and it was like really fast. But I did understand her predicament of like not really having anyone to talk to. I mean, look around. Like,
make more friends. Look, like Zoya's a nice person. Maybe you should be friends with Zoya instead of shitting on her.
Oh, she ended up being friends with Zoya.
Barely. Let's get into Zoya. Zoya annoys the hell out of me, but at least the actress can act. Ish. No. Okay. Let's talk about her father's hair. I don't know who is in charge of hair and makeup. I don't know who looked at Zoya's dad and said, you know what would be a funny, sneaky way to be racist, but you're mad smart because he looks ridiculous.
Ridiculous. It's like he came into the studio and they just made his hair worse. You know what? Like, he didn't even have to walk into hair and makeup. You could have just, I'm pretty sure he didn't walk in like that. They were like, no, let's make this your hairstyle every single day you come in here to shoot. And that's actually racist.
Like, you can't just shave his head. Have him have a shaved head. Or like,
oh my god.
I don't even understand what is going on with her. Make him a character that always wears a hat. If that's how his hair looks in real life, and it's a lie, you know what? I actually have to look up what the actor looks like in real life. Because maybe this is how he likes his hair, because I don't understand what I am seeing with my eyes.
Oh my god.
Every time he gets on screen, I'm like, no.
It can't be.
What?
I think it was his decision.
We take back the comments that we made towards the hair and makeup stylist on the show. Clearly, this is a personal preference in terms of his appearance, and good for him.
Oh my god.
I can't believe that.
Yeah, he just annoys me. Always forming, I hate rich people. Like the entire saga with what's her name? The black girl's family.
Oh, Monet's family.
Pissed me off so much. Not Monet, Zoya's friend, the black girl.
Oh, Shan.
Yeah, the entire saga with the family kind of pissed me off because it's like, let your daughter have friends.
But you know what?
Have some friends.
Would you? Because Zoya just be lying for no reason. And Zoya's the one who started it by sneaking out secretly and not telling me you have a friend. So now I already have negative feelings. Because last semester I found out that you actually lied about knowing your sister. You moved to this school, like all this extra stuff. So now, like, no, but he was doing too much and it was low-key. But
I don't know. Maybe examine why your daughter doesn't feel she can tell you this simple piece of information.
I don't know. Zoya kind of moves kind of mad.
No, but I feel like she didn't feel like she could say that just because of their status, because of all the comments her dad has been making around rich people.
But Zoya makes those comments too. That's my issue with her. She was
raised by her dad, was she not?
Yeah, but like she believes it because she's very much the character that goes around, like she's kind of like dad, where it's like, oh, I'm not as rich as you guys. Rich people are unethical. You need to do better.
Because you're rich.
Because even Shan lied to her about how rich she was. Well, she didn't lie. She admitted it till this season. So I'm like, so Zoya, you get it, but you're also like, because if you had come reasonably, because she's the one that told Shan now told her parents they were using paper plates. I'm sorry, if I was Nicolette, no, because you think because I'm poor, I've not seen China plates before.
Yeah.
Because what were they actually doing?
I don't know. That was just horrible on all parties involved.
No. And Shan is another character that potentially could have been something. Shan is what Vanessa was in the book. She's supposed to be like this black, spunky, out there girl and not the weird, whiny babe that was in love with Dad. So Shan had potential, but I guess she wasn't really a main character, so they didn't feel the need to delve into her too much. I loved seeing her on my screen. I loved her acting, and she just didn't get the storylines. I liked her. It's just that she was kind of all over the place. She's like, she loves Zoya so much and she's her best friend, but also she's gonna abandon her to go partying with a stranger. And then she's there for her, but then she's gonna keep secrets from. I don't know. It was very all over the place. And then she'll sleep with the guy that Zoya likes. Like it was.
Yeah, her apologies did not make any sense. Like, oh my god, it was a mistake. I told him I wasn't the one. I was like, you already slept with him. Like, what am I supposed to do? I don't want you sloppy seconds. Also, I loved seeing Georgina Sparks. Like, you know, she's cool. Like, I love when they do these cameos, but also, what was the reason? And why did she randomly just pick someone's wedding to destroy as a jest? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. It just felt like, I don't know, like they could have done it. Like, I love how they brought in Nelly Yuki, but with Georgina, I was like, this is so horrible. Like, why are you doing this?
The thing about them bringing in Georgina is that it's not unbelievable that Georgina would act like that. She was a crazy person that just did crazy things. It just was very much, what is the reason for all this? Why, like, when Georgina was 16, terrorizing people that she knew, it was crazy, but it was fine. Like, she's, you know, she knows Serena, she knows Dan. You know, when she's showing up and lying that she's pregnant with Dan's baby, it's fine. She slept with him before. When she's terrorizing random children that she doesn't know and their parents, why? Like, what did she get out of that? It was just not necessary. And it feels like they wanted to use her as a tool to make the teacher bolder and crazier. Yeah. So apparently Georgina's madness spreads.
But it just wasn't done well.
It was just really weird.
It was horrible. But her changing the wedding song to We're Never Getting Back Together by Taylor Swift was genius. It was genius.
Honestly, everything she did to mess with the wedding was really funny to me. Like, honestly, when they were freaking out about their outfits or even the little afro that he had, it all killed me. I was having the time of my life.
Also, why would a random blonde person just come and tell you, oh, song has changed to something that doesn't make sense, and no one thought, let me confirm this. She was able to change the song, the wedding dress. She was able to switch out so many things and no one asked any questions. Why?
Nothing. Like, that's the thing. Logic isn't a thing that actually works in this show. And again, another moment that was really, really funny to me was the episode. Okay, so this episode actually annoyed me. It was when Aki and Audrey were trying to get Max to sleep with other people so that they wouldn't think they were together. Nothing about the show makes sense. They were really abusive to Max. It doesn't matter. But basically everybody coming into the house and running into the woman and being like, oh, you know, this is the model for. See, that was funny. It was really, really funny.
And then the woman goes, the moral decline in this house. I screamed. I actually screamed because that entire thing was so funny. Oh my god, that was actually my favorite scene.
And Zozo falling down the stairs. Why? Look, it was a really, really funny moment. But when you step back and actually think about what's happening, it's like, I don't understand anything about the way the world in this show works. But that's how they want to live. That's what they think is normal.
Yeah, poor Max though. Like, they were so mean to him when he said "I love you," and they were just like, "Oh my gosh, he loves us. Let's just ignore." And then he says it again, and they're like, "Oops, Gossip Girl just posted." I was like,
so. For season 3, like the creator talked about how like the throuple is endgame, they're gonna get back together, and I'm just like, this is bad writing, because if you wanted to break up the throuple, the person you should not have left out is Max. Either they should have broken up with Audrey or they should have broken up with Aki. But having them leave Max after repeatedly treating him kind of like shit and everything that happened last season just reinforces the idea that they're just using him as a fun extra appendage that they don't care about. So having them it just makes Max look like he doesn't love himself. But they were so mean to him, and I like the throuple. I like them, yeah. Me too. And people didn't like the throuple. People really hate the throuple.
Why?
I don't know. I like non-conventional relationship dynamics on TV.
I do, especially when it's done well. I mean, this time they kind of messed it up, but I liked it. But then they went and had sex, and they were like, "Oh my god, it's so much better. It's so much uncomplicated."
Okay, see, this is what I mean by
horrible.
They are children. Like the way they talk about these things, like even when Aki was, nervous about potentially having sex, and they were following him up and down, and it was like he bought a bag of sex toys to show them he was ready to have sex. Is this what children are doing?
Parents, watch your kids. Watch them.
Ooh, or how everyone is so fine with the fact that Max has been groomed by adults multiple times. Like everybody makes jokes about him sleeping with Obie's sister. She's actually an adult.
Yeah.
And everyone knows about this, and nobody does or cares about it.
Where are the parents in this show? At least in the original Gossip Girl, like the parents were horrible, but we saw them every now and then. Where are they?
Speaking about the parents, Obie's mom literally committed a crime, and I don't mean her illegal activities. My babe fully said, okay, you can't get into your house, you're gonna be homeless. You cannot just kick your child onto the streets. That is a minor. Similarly, I don't understand what Monet's mom's direction was, because I liked her, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I was enjoying her, but clearly she's supposed to be like bad. But most of the things she said was, I want you to be better, I want you to be hardworking, I don't want you to be terrible. None of those things are actually wrong until the final episode where she kind of said, even telling her not to get involved in Gossip Girl, really, it's okay, I have my money and my ways. It's just, They wanted her to be the bad mom, but they didn't have her do the bad things. Like, yeah, she kind of yells, and yeah, she's kind of mean, but she clearly loves her daughter, and Monet likes her mom sometimes. I don't know.
She's really mean though.
She is, but does Monet sometimes deserve it?
Yes, but like she's mean even when she doesn't deserve it. So.
But maybe during the times that she doesn't deserve it, she's remembering when she deserved it. Because why have you actually invited a rapist to our events now to win a point? She invited Julian's dad to the thingy. Or even when she tried to slut shame Zoya. Like, it's just, her mom is like, why are you behaving? But you know what? If your child is terrible, it's probably on you. You probably did a bad job raising your kids. So anyway, point being, there's just a lot of things in the show that don't make sense. And although there are things that, like, I actually really liked Obie's sister being the one that set him up to get beat up. I was like, yeah, this is Gossip Girl. She has done an insane unhinged thing to benefit herself. And it's fantastic. But, they immediately walked it back and had her apparently be the mastermind that got rid of her mom, and I don't know.
Yeah, let's talk about what's the name of the teacher, the Gossip Girl person? Kate, and is it Jonah or Jonathan? Or...
I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't know those people's names. That Kate was a guest.
Exactly. Like, I don't understand what's going on there. I don't really care. Like, I don't care to see the teacher's love lives, and I don't like. Kate's face and voice is so annoying to me. Like, they made a good decision bringing back the original Gossip Girl voice to do the voiceover, because, like,
The thing is, I think they were about to rectify the situation. So they were clearly about to end Gossip Girl being a teacher. I think next season, or at least for the first half, it was probably going to be that app with, and then they were going to phase that out, which is fine. But one, why did we need 2 whole seasons of the teacher being Gossip Girl? But outside of that final episode switch up where they have Kate behave like a crazy person who suddenly is shameless enough to walk into a building and say, I'm Gossip Girl. What is that? Like, I know she has an ego, but she was not the brightest person, but there was some sense there that
No, that was very, very on brand for it. I was not surprised at all. She snuck out of bed at night even after her boyfriend had been begging her all season, because she loves that like power, right? Like she wants to be noticed. So
it was just
it
weird.
was on brand, because she probably thought it was just like I don't know, maybe she thought it was just a private meeting. I don't know. I'm trying to explain that. It's kind of unhinged, but it was on brand for her, in my opinion.
Well, I mean, in theory, I'm glad that they got rid of her as Gossip Girl, but in actuality, since the show ended here, what you did was that she was Gossip Girl to the end. I don't know. It was a strange decision. I think one of the weaknesses of the reboot as a whole is us seeing who Gossip Girl was. They should have gone with the same format. We don't know who Gossip Girl is. We don't know why they're moving forward. And also, Gossip Girl is a child.
Yeah.
Like, Gossip Girl cannot be an authority figure. So even in the original one, people thought it was Rhoda. That's even fine. She's someone's maid. Yeah. And, like, she didn't have any power over Blair. Like, this is their teacher manipulating their lives and, like, affecting them in really negative ways. That's not okay. So I think that was the biggest thing. Obviously, they should have made some different casting choices for some of the characters, but storyline-wise, I think that was the weakest thing, was having the teachers be Gossip Girl, because a bunch of teachers know about it. So you're telling me there are like 10 teachers in different schools across New York who all know who Gossip Girl is, and none of them have told anyone? Like,
I guess they hate the kids that much. And that's very valid.
Were the kids even that bad? Like, they were
they were bad.
Like, they were rude and annoying, but like, I feel like I needed to see.
Well, they were bribing like people to change their grades and like firing teachers that didn't like when they gave them the grades.
This gonna sound so mean, but if you're a private teacher, like, you know what you're signing up for. You're working at a private school for rich kids.
So everyone should get an A.
Why not? Collect your bribe.
Just because I want a decent salary, I should forget about my integrity.
I mean, yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Be like that. Rich people need to suffer.
Well, it's not in school, because the person that has all the power here are the parents of the students, because it's private school. I don't know. It was just like, and I think, I'm not going to name any names, but in the school that I went to when I was younger, there were some students who did horrible things to teachers. And maybe because I've seen that, making a comment about your ugly clothes to me isn't enough to destroy a child's life.
Yeah, I think they should have gone a lot deeper into like how the teachers were actually mistreated.
Yeah.
But I think they just kind of glossed over it and showed us a little bit, like a few samples. But I think it was actually bad. I think it was bad.
I mean, I think then they should have showed us that. I agree with you, because if it was so horrible, maybe it would have been easier. Because from the first season, a lot of us were like, a teacher is doing this? Like, this is, you're willing to commit a felony because you hate little kids? Quit your job, bro.
Fuck them kids.
But look, the show definitely had some cool elements, and I enjoyed watching it. I didn't think it was a good show, but I enjoyed watching it, and I had hope that it would get better over time. And, you know, they were doing more and more little cameos here and there. It's so funny, because I think if it had done well, we probably would have gotten like some OG, like main character cast, Serena, Blair kind of cameo, but we didn't. And you know, so the final episode was actually supposed to be an hour and a half. They cut out 30 minutes from the final episode.
Why?
Because they realized they got canceled and they had to make it more of a finale. So like the guy Zoya bumps into that she thinks is cute. You know, at the final scene where they're talking to each other, and Audrey and Julien, like, I made a friend today. It's like, me too. They were all that same guy that Zoya met, and he's also the guy that helped Max stand up when he got thrown out of that bar in Germany. So there was supposed to be something with that. Apparently there was a scene with Monet that got cut out as well. We were gonna find out something about Zoya and Julien's mom. Can we talk about how shitty Julien is? Like, you're finding out the secret about our mom and you're not taking me. We're literally in Italy together.
And she's like, I have to do this, please. It's something so noble. Like, please let me do it. And oh my God, thank you for bringing that up, because her acting was so horrible when she was confronting the aunt, and she was supposed to be in a hurt, and like she was supposed to have like all these feelings, and her face was just blank.
She's like,
at 9 p.m. I was like, please do something to your face. Like, it's not convincing, because like the black lady was acting her ass off with all her emotions, and then Julia was just like black.
She's like, I'm so hurt. You've never spoken to me.
So I was just like, that was the tipping point for me. I was like, this is supposed to be an important scene. So the director saw that and was like, good, move on.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh.
To wrap up, I really think the main thing is that these people were not friends. Like, I know they say we're best friends. We've been friends since we were kids. You're still kids, by the way. They talk about how important their friendship is. And I think, you know, in the last episode, Julien says, we haven't used this group chat since New Year. And it's supposed to be like moving. These children all hate each other. And them talking about, oh, Max will be fine. He's always fine. And all of them kind of just cackling about it. Or none of them had, like, all of them immediately turning on Luna and talking about, she took what was yours. Excuse me? Like, these people are not friends. In fact, those two people, Luna and Max, are actually my favorite from the group. And I'm glad that they're each other's friends because everybody else needs Jesus.
I love their friendship so much.
Me
like,
too.
I love that he was able to go to her for advice and she would actually give him sane and sound advice. Like, I wish they had done more with that.
Yeah, even the little things we got. Like, I like him hyping her up and kind of being like, you deserve good things. Like, they did a little bit at the end of last season as well. Like, these are the people, those two and Monet, those are the people you should be giving screen time. Because one, the three of them can act. So let's give, like, we got one episode with Luna and her mom this season.
I really enjoyed that storyline. I was like, it was so entertaining to find out about Luna and her background and her problems with her mom. I loved that so much. And then it was back to Julien.
Right? And like for a moment, Monet was like, you know, supporting Luna. And that also made Luna's actions at the beginning of the season seem unhinged. Again, her and Monet are like ride or die. Why was she? I just feel like some characters, especially Monet and Luna, were kind of just given an unfair hand where it's like they have a wealth of stuff that could have been done, especially because those two are really, really nothing like the original characters from the original Gossip Girl. Yeah. I feel like for everyone else, like, you know, Max is Chuck, but kinda. Julien is kind of Serena or Blair, and same thing, Zoya's kind of Dan. Like, they try to make all the new people kind of someone else, but Luna and Monet are actually brand new characters that they could have gone in any direction with, and they just had no interest in doing that.
Side note, the scene where everyone like got into Monet's phone to like do something when she was like at the spa, that was so funny. That was actually so funny. They had little things like that, and I feel like it was really, really slow. We had some very unnecessary storylines that just didn't go anywhere. But at the end of season 2, I feel like they had built enough of a strong foundation for it to actually be a really, really good show. But I guess it just got cancelled. They didn't do that in time, I guess. I don't know.
Like I actually do agree with you. I feel like they did. There were enough good elements from 2 seasons to make like 3/4 of one good season, because everything that happened with Davis, Julien's dad, like so he's just gone. Where is her father? No, because like I know like we do some funny things on this show, but she actually is a minor that's just living with some random guy.
He's not random though.
He's her half-sister's father.
Yeah, and he's collecting money from her real dad.
I mean, I guess it's just okay. So is he not a character anymore? Like, was there a reason for us to see like this? Maybe it's because Julien's not a good actress. Maybe we were supposed to feel how distraught she was that she lost that connection. You know, her dad was her only parent. They were really close.
I don't feel it.
I didn't see shit. Look, Zoya annoyed me, but at least when she was complaining that me and my dad used to be so close, I believed it. I was like, you're missing your dad. You guys had that bond. But Julien, low-key, maybe she just spawned out of the earth and that's how she's been existing. I don't know. I had hopes. I had high hopes for the show, and we're talking about it in past tense because even though there's like a tiny chance that maybe another network is going to pick it up, I completely doubt it. I think that in 10 years there's going to be another reboot that's probably better this time. So sucks for the people who got stuck in reboot 2. I hope the actors who I enjoyed, again, Max, Luna, Monet, I hope they get booked in other gigs and they're successful. I hope those who are not doing that well.
Audrey wasn't bad.
Audrey was okay, because sometimes I couldn't tell if it was an acting choice or just this is how you are.
I think it's just her face that you have a problem with.
Either way, I you know, good luck to everyone involved. It must really suck to be on a show and it gets canceled and you thought that it was going to have a legacy. So sorry about that. But yeah, no, it was a fun hate watch.
Yeah.
So, you know, until next time, guys, XOXO Gossip Girl.